the last topic will be the like pricing and positioning, right? So the overview, right? So basically, what is EdgeOne, right? So this could be considered the key takeaway of this webinar, right? This one-liner, right? So basically, this is the all-in-one product, right? That combines all those features together. That includes, for example, the CDN, the web security, right? Which is WAF, right? The anti-DDoS, right? The DNS, and also the analytics. So I have to take note that the client that we're serving or the target user that we're serving is basically outside of mainland China. So what is the definition of the outside of mainland China? Is basically referring to those users' origin site and the caching node are both outside of mainland China. Oh, and also just to give you a heads up, that we are actually undergoing a sort of a transition program, right, to basically to merge all those like CDN nodes outside of mainland China into this EdgeOne product. So probably a couple months later or a year later, you won't see no like CDN outside of mainland China, but only a single product, which is the EdgeOne. Oh. And also, if you are currently experienced CDN, WAF, or anti-DDoS sales, don't worry, right? Your knowledge, your product knowledge will still apply, right? So basically, the EdgeOne is just to inherit the existing features and also the resources, as well as to reshuffle the existing ones, right? And also we're going to add like more capacities, like the anti-DDoS and also the CDN nodes into this new EdgeOne product. So your existing sales knowledge will still apply, don't worry. And also, right, since now the product is just launched and we are at the very initial stage, right? So the feature or UI parity is not there yet, right? So comparing with the individual product. If you're familiar with, for example, the existing like CDN, WAF, and anti-DDoS product, and you compare with our existing EdgeOne, like for example, UI, they will see some like discrepancies, right? The parity is not 100%. But we're going to achieve like full feature parity, hopefully by the end of this year, right? So now it's around like 80%, so that the rest 20% of the features can still be fulfilled by some of the back-end development or customization if your client really need that as of now. And what EdgeOne can bring to you, right? If you're familiar with the CDN, of course, the performance boosting, right? So they're going to like leverage our DNS services to do the multi-level DNS lookup, the CNAME lookup, and also they're going to like have the content distribution features, right? Basically to serve the content closest to the user to improve the user experiences significantly. And also we're going to support, for example, layer 4 and 7 static dynamic content acceleration, as well as we have the built-in load balancer feature, right, which allow you to do the load sharing across different origin sites. And the security, right, pretty standard, right, TLS, DDoS mitigation, bot mitigation, and also the web protection, and also the visibilities as well as the data intelligence, right? So we're going to give back like all those like security analytics functions, the DNS insight, the CDN user traffic analysis functions, as well as the performance tuning, which is in real time. So basically, all in all, it's a all-in-one, right, edge security acceleration platform that is leveraging, right, our global CDN and the pop, right, and also the future-proof acceleration technologies. And also we're going to like provide you with a single pane of glass of management for the edge services that combines the CDN and security. And also the user portal is extremely user-friendly and also intuitive. Later I'm going to show you. So how the user traffic flow looks like, right? So over here, right, when the user trying to access, for example, www.tencent.com, of course, first of all, they have to hit our DNS, right, to do the DNS lookup. And then we're going to come back with the nearest node IP addresses. All the traffic going to be redirected to the edge caching nodes. I'm going to, like, for example, do the security scanning first, and then do the content serving. If you're having, for example, the origin pool or the layer 7, for example, dynamic content, then go to send through our central nodes, and then we're going to hit the origin sites. And in terms of the global footprints, as well as the capabilities over here, right? So basically, this is the figure that we can showcase to the client during the first meeting. So we can state that we have more than 800 global EdgeOne nodes, right? As you know that 200 out of them actually are self-built by Tencent, and the rest is leveraging our partner capabilities. And our like country presence is more than 70, and also we can mitigate the malicious requests. The number of them is more than like 20 million on a daily basis, and also the peak QPS that we can achieve is more than 13 million, and also our average daily request is more than like 2 trillion. So in terms of
Michael, can we
yeah,
ask
sure.
question, or we hold the question until the last later?
Probably let me go through the flow first, and the Q&A session will be at the last. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
hey, thanks. Okay, yeah, so over here, right, so basically that explains the different roles, right, of the EdgeOne nodes, right? So over here we have totally 800, right, EdgeOne nodes, but are they like created equally? Of course, no, right? As I mentioned earlier, right, like 600 out of the 800 actually are from our partner, right? So basically they can only do the CDN, or basically the content distribution. And the rest 200 basically are self-built, so that they can support, for example, the anti-DDoS, right? And also the full-blown anti-DDoS, right? That can support up to 3.5 terabits per second, the kind of scrubbing capacity. And by the end of this year, likely we're going to achieve like about like 15 terabits per second, the kind of combined scrubbing capacity. Oh. And this is the view from the map, right? So we have the existing capability, and we have the newly added the anti-DDoS anycast scrubbing capacity, right? That is up to like 15 terabits per second by the end of this year. And this is the breakdown by country. As you see that over here, those in yellow are from partners. So what we can do with them is just the CD and the content distribution only. However, for those in green, have the like full-blown anti-DDoS capabilities, right? That is leveraging the Anycast. And yeah, since we are actually constantly adding the new resources into this portfolio, right? So that the resource distribution and everything, the capacity planning is being updated on a monthly basis, right? So that if you need a specific, for example, the breakdown of details of them, please send us requests, right? And also if your client wanting to, for example, have the speed test report, we are also conducting it sort of on a monthly basis. So please send us requests if your client require so. And so basically over here, right, how are we going to position the EdgeOne product, right? So as you know that the edge service market is highly saturated. Our direct competitors like Cloudflare and Akamai basically dominating the market, right? So how are we going to break through, right? So over here, how we're going to position against them, right? So we know that they are just edge service provider. What they don't have is the cloud service. Right? So for example, in the first scenario, that if the client, right, they have the web application that is hosted partially on the on-prem DC and also partially on the full-blown like third-party cloud, which Cloudflare and Akamai don't have. Right, so the definition of full-blown third-party cloud is, the cloud must have, for example, the variety of the DB services, MySQL, NoSQL, the caches, and also they have the like a full-blown big data analytics platform that can do, for example, the patch jobs and also real-time jobs, etc., which Cloudflare and Akamai don't. Right, what they can do is a very simple edge cloud services, which can't fulfill completely. So this is how we compete with those like edge service providers like Cloudflare and Akamai. And then how we're going to compete with AWS, GCP, and also Ali Cloud, right? Those like conventional right cloud providers over here, right? Of course, they have these three products individually, right? But what they don't have is the consolidated, the edge service product that is combining both the CD and the security functionality together with a single pane of glass of management. For example, AWS, right? So if they want to achieve what EdgeOne can do, AWS have to piece all those products together, like WAF, like Shield Advanced, like Certificate Manager, like CloudWatch. But for us, just a single product that can like fulfill all the functions and the features. So in the second scenarios over here, right? For example, I'm a client, I'm already the experienced public cloud practitioners, which means that I've already had some resources being hosted on the third party or the full-fledged cloud, right? So over here, what I want to do is to do some extension to the edge. And I prefer to have a single pane of glass on management of the CDN as well as the security, right? So that our EdgeOne can shine over here, right? But for others, AWS, GCP, and Ali Cloud, they need some at least integration effort, and usually the products will be built separately. Pretty difficult to manage, right? And the third scenario, right over here, right? I'm also a client, right? I'm the client having the attitude, I'm extremely arrogant. I want it all. I want it now, right? I want all three of them. It must be world class, and I like it cheap, right? So I think only Tencent can serve it well, right? Because Tencent can provide all three of them, and all the Tencent services must be like world class, and of course, we are not cheap, right? However, our pricing is always negotiable and we are flexible, right? So basically, this is how we like position against our competitors in this highly competitive, highly saturated edge service market. Oh. Okay, key features, right? So it's a bit technical. I'm going to run through relatively briefly. So over here, the first is the content distribution feature set, right? So basically what we can provide to you is the one-click, the kind of experience that can turn out all those features all together, like cachings and accelerations, network transport optimizations, compression optimizations, certificate management, as well as the TLS. So basically when the traffic hit our nodes, we're going to perform the DNS lookup to serve the content closest to the user, to determine like what transport protocol being used, right? To follow certain like caching rules that you can predefine, for example, the custom TTL to preload some of the content, and also you can craft out some of the custom rules set as well regarding the caching. And also you can determine like what compression algorithm is going to be used. You can like swap the gzip with Bottly, which can like increase or improve the efficiency in terms of the compression. And we have the built-in load balancer, right, that can allow you to do the geo-based or weightage-based kind of load sharing across different origin sites for the dynamic contents. And we support, for example, the authentication and authorizations, right, that allows you to like enforce, for example, the HTTPS, allow you to do the certificate management with a single pane of glass or management, the kind of experiences. You don't need node to be redirected to a different portal to do that. And also the standard feature OCSP stapling, basically to constantly validate the validity of the certificate so that we can shorten the TLS handshake time, right, to improve the time to first byte of the content when there's a new request coming in. So let's look at the feature one by one. So the first one is the DNS. Everybody knows what it does, right? So basically we're leveraging our existing Tencent DNS capabilities. We're going to inherit all those advantages that we had. For example, the performance, the resilience are going to be DDoS free, the kind of setup leveraging the Anycast. And also in terms of the onboarding, we support both NS hosting as well as the CNAME redirection. And also our DNS server will be participating in the AntiDdos, right? Why? Because not our, not all our EdgeOne cloud, EdgeOne nodes created equal, which means that some of them, right, support only CDN, right? Some of them support a full-blown AntiDdos, so that when those CDN nodes getting attacked, we're going to leverage the DNS dynamic scheduling capability to redirect the traffic temporarily from those CDN nodes to our AntiDdos scrubbing nodes. So this is the use case of our DNS server. And here is another example, very simple. So I have like three group of user from North America, from EMEA, and also from APAC, right? So over here, I want, for example, my North American and EMEA user traffic to be performed with, for example, the DNS lookup only, and I'm going to send the traffic directly to the origin server. And for the APAC traffic, we're going to route through, for example, our EdgeOne nodes, right, to perform, for example, the user traffic acceleration, content serving, etc., and then to the nearest origin server. So basically, this is the use case of our DNS. And the second one is a load balancer. Everybody knows what it does as well, right? So basically, it's just to do the load sharing across different origin sites, especially for those like layer 7 contents, right? That need to be hitting the nearest origin server so that you can perform, for example, either geo-based or weightage-based load sharing across different origin sites. For example, you want to do a 50-50 or 80-20, the kind of weightage-based load sharing, or for example, for the dynamic contents that is in Japan, I want it to be routed to the, for example, Japan origin site, and the dynamic content from Singapore are going to be routed to the like Singapore origin site, right? So basically, this is the use case of our like load balancer. And over here, right, the caches and distribution. So basically, this is the core functionality of our EdgeOne product. Right, so basically what it does is similar to CDN, right? So serve the static and dynamic content or distribution, as well as the accelerations, do the traffic backhauling for the dynamic content, and also doing the origin pool when there's a need for the like static content, and also doing the transport optimization, as well as doing support some of the like unique protocols like quick. So over here, right, for example, for the static like content, we're going to serve right from the nearest node, and also we're going to optimize the transport paths when there's a requirement of, for example, the origin pool, and also for the dynamic content, right? So we can also like improve, for example, the latency, right, by shorten the time to first byte, for example, the DNS, as well as the TLS handshake time. We're going to leverage certain technologies, right, in order to like perform, for example, TCP resumption using the, for example, TLS session ticket, right, to improve the latency of the, for example, the dynamic content serving. Of course, in terms of the transport, right, we're also leveraging some of the proprietary technologies like QTCP instead of using the normal TCP, that we can, for example, adjust the TCP transmission window size to further improve the performance, to reduce, for example, the congestion, to reduce, for example, the packet loss, latency, and jitter. And also, the paths will always be like optimized, right, leveraging those like optimal route selection technologies, so that the nearest origin server will be selected. And also, of course, if you are experienced CDN sales, they might be familiar that, okay, for those like different types of the contents, the TTL will be set differently. And also from our EdgeOne node, we also support those like custom rule set, so that you can do the like, for example, content customization, for example, the visitor session validation using the token, you can ignore certain query strings to improve your like cache hit rate, and also to do some of the URL customization as well. Okay, here is another feature, right, which we call the layer 4 proxy, right? So the name is called layer 4 proxy. However, we perform the content acceleration for both layer 4 and 7, right, which is dynamic one. So the use cases of that is, for example, API, and also if you have non-latency sensitive gaming, a lobby and battle server, that can also be leveraging this feature, right, to achieve some of the performance optimization as well as acceleration. And I have to highlight that this particular proxy feature, right, when it performs the traffic backhauling, is via the optimized internet path, right? So basically, this is a backbone built by our existing CDN networks. However, it's via the internet. And this particular service must be bundled with our Anycast feature, Anycast AntiDdos feature. And this is not a replacement of our GAAP, application acceleration, right, which performs the traffic acceleration via our private network, which is CCN. So basically, how it works is when the traffic coming in, our nearest edge node, right, is going to accept the traffic, and then they're going to forward the traffic based on the route I craft out earlier, forward it via the backbone to the origin server. So the backbone over here is internet backbone. However, it's built by our CDN nodes, so that we're constantly monitoring the quality of the link, quality of the circuit, for example, the packet loss, latency, and jitter. And we're performing the route and the path optimization on a real-time basis. So basically, to summarize it, is we can accelerate, right, the dynamic content via our backbone. However, the backbone is running over our the accelerated internet path. So basically, this is the definition of this particular feature, which is called the layer 4 proxy. Or if you're familiar with another product that's already available in mainland China, which is called the GAAP RTN, they are sort of similar. However, the use case is more of outside of mainland China. And I have to highlight that this is not a replacement of our existing product, GAAP app acceleration. So basically, this is our layer 4 proxy feature. And in terms of the onboarding, right, two different methods. One is using a CNAME and the other one using the anycast. So over here, the difference is behind a single CNAME, right, we can basically map it to multiple anycast IPs, so you get a better resiliency. So later in the demo, I will also going to show you how this feature to be configured. Okay, here is the security feature set. It's pretty standard, right? So the DNS security, the encryption, the WAF, and also the AntiDdos. For the DNS security over here, right, we have the DNSSEC, basically to provide you with a chain of trust when you do the multi-level domain lookup. And also our DNS server is DDoS free. And also TRS, of course, we support that. WAF support that. Basically, it's a web protection against those like OWASP top 10 risks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and also AntiDdos, leveraging the Anycast technologies that can provide you with a combined or aggregated scrubbing capacity up to 15 terabits per second by the end of this year, and also the bot mitigation. Look at the first one, the DDoS protection. Career grade, leveraging the hybrid technology, the unicast and also the anycast IP, as I mentioned earlier. Not all the EdgeOne nodes created equal. Some of them running on unicast, some of them are running on anycast. So that for those like unicast nodes being attacked, we're going to do the dynamic traffic redirection to the anycast row to do the traffic scrubbing. And also, we're leveraging some of the industry-unique patented technologies, right, to do the attack mitigation as well. So basically, when the attack coming in, so we're going to leverage the AI, the machine learning engine, right, supervised learning and supervised learning baselining, the train model to identify those threats. And the mitigation is going to be seconds level, right, industry-unique features like fingerprinting, leveraging the big data analytics platform to identify those like bad users, and also the watermarking features, right, for you to label the traffic to protect against those like very complicated TCP use-based DDoS attacks. And the attack suppression, right, is the nearest to the attacker since we're leveraging the anycast technologies, right? And the combined, the scrubbing capacity is up to 15 terabits per second by the end of this year. Of course, reporting alerts, we're going to trigger the notification when there's an attack. And the other one is the web protection and also the bot mitigation, right? So it's pretty standard, right? So really limiting, we're constantly challenging to see that whether you are a human or a bot, right? And also we're going to leverage the AI, the machine learning, right, to identify those online scraper, crawlers, etc. And also we're going to leverage those standard and custom rule set to block those like OWASP top 10 risks, like OWASP, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, remote code executions, account takeovers, and etc. And the last feature I want to elaborate is the monitoring and visibilities over here, right? So basically, we give back the real-time, the statistics of the CDN and the security, right? Show you the threat visibilities as well as the real-time monitoring capabilities over here. So basically, this is the glimpse of the portal. Later, we're going to show you a demo as well. And just to take note that this particular portal will be enhanced on a quarterly basis, right? So every quarterly, you're going to see more widgets, more wizards, right? More like animations to be added onto this portal. So as of now, what we can provide is the visibilities in terms of the security risks, right? And also how much performance has been like improved and also all the features and the monitoring capabilities are built in, right? It's not like AWS, they need CloudWatch to do that. And for us, we can provide you with a real-time attack notification, and we have a dedicated DDoS and the CDN service team to serve you 24/7, right? The channel of the service could be like Slack, could be WeChat, even QQ, right? And in terms of the performance metrics, right? So these are the information that we're going to give back, and also we can allow you to like export it into like graphical reports and download it as well. So without further ado, I'm going to quickly show you a demo, and then after the demo, I'm going to quickly run through the pricing and the positioning. So before the demo, I want to like pause for a while to see if there's any questions.